Okay, so I said that my next video would not be about video games, and I'm holding true to that. What I thought I would talk about today is just a few stories of my time teaching billiards at Weber State University here in Ogden, Utah. Um, I taught for 16 and a half years. I was getting my degree, got a degree in English, and then I was in the master's program, and I was going to work my way towards my master's and then a doctorate. My goal in life was to teach at the university level. Then my health had other ideas for me. And if you want to watch about my health problems, there are some MS videos. If you look at the videos under my profile, there are some that explain what MS is about. And then there's some that explain like my routines, the way it's affected me, that kind of thing. One that I would highly recommend is the one on energy blocks, which I try to explain how fatigued it makes you. That's a good video to watch. So give that one a watch. So instead today, what I thought I'd talk about is my time teaching billiards at Weber State. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And I had some very funny events happen that we'll talk about. First off, Weber State, I love Weber State. It's a good school, provided a lot for me as far as getting my education and opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So not only did I teach there for 16 and a half years, but I also made some of my best friends there. And I have a lot of friends, a lot of you here on Facebook, were from my classes. We became friends and just stuck as being friends throughout the years, and I appreciate you all. So what I thought I'd do here is just talk a little bit about some funny events that happen. And if you like this video, I will just let me know. If you like this, I'll make another video. I have lots of stories, but I just picked a few to tell. Try not to make this too long. First off, you got to remember we're at a university, so it is higher education. So these people are smart. And so the first thing that they learn, well, they should learn, is parking. And as you can see, no. Not good. My car is the one in the middle, trapped in. It was a little Saturn, and it was small, but that thing ran for a while. Got great gas mileage. It was a decent little car, but now it's gone. So I'm going to tell you just a few experiences that I had that stick out in my mind. And like I said, there are lots of them. One of the first experiences that really shaped the way that I taught, the way that I perceived people, and the way that I dealt with people was during my first class. I had a kid, up at the counter, they had sticks that you could check out. And they were McDermott's. They were a little bit more expensive. And so you had to go check them out. Well, somebody had left one out, and a kid in my class broke it down and put it in his coat and left class. So we had that on film, which I don't understand why he would do that, because the whole place is recorded. So you can see every inch of that place. He took the stick, and I got a call from my boss. His name is Fred, and great boss, great guy. He called me and said, "Hey, we have a problem. Somebody in your class stole a stick. Could you please come identify him?" So I went in, watched the footage. Of course, yes, it was him. He said, "How do you want to handle this?" And I said, "Well, do we call the police? Do we get involved?" He said, "Well, yes, but I want you to think long and hard about how you handle this. No matter how you handle it, I'll support you." He said, "But I would recommend that you show some leniency and maybe give this kid a chance." And my first reaction was throw the book at him. I was new to teaching. I was new to the whole atmosphere there. And I decided to just go with his recommendation. And yeah, the police were involved, but there were no charges pressed. All he had to do was return the stick, and we would forgive it. I would make him do an extra. I had made people do papers in my classes. I made him do an extra paper. I made him work for his grade, and it was cool because then, fast forward a couple years, I'm starting my master's program. I'm up at the Davis campus, and I hear this voice, "Hey, John," and turn around, and it's him. And he came up and he just said, "I want to thank you for what you did for me." He said, "I have turned my life around. I'm actually I'm going to graduate this semester and I'm going into a master's program. And I just wanted to thank you for that." And that was powerful to me. It was powerful to me. Because one thing I truly believe in is forgiving people, but not forgetting. I hate the term forgive and forget. You forgive, but you don't forget. And if they're willing to make amends for that, then you can work on the forgetting part. Which he did beautifully. And he was successful. And so I was very happy that I could be a part of that. And it was nice to be given that credit. And he really just couldn't stop thanking me enough for that. And now that was a good experience. So now that was a kind of a touching story. That was a good lesson learned for everybody. But now I'm going to tell you some funny stories. Okay. So I had in my class, always in my classes, you'll have at least probably 3 to 5 people that are involved in athletics. Okay. So this semester, particular semester, I had I think 2 football players, a couple cheerleaders, and they were fantastic. I'd never had a problem with the athletes. Never had a problem with them. Some of my best students. So this one guy is on the football team. He is a black guy. He is the safety for our football team. And I had a woman and her son that were taking the class. And her son was going to play this guy, the football player. And she walks up to him and says, "Now, I just wanted you to know that my son is colorblind." And turns around to walk away because he just stood there like, "Okay." And everybody kind of looked at her like, "Oh, what are you saying?" And she started walking towards me, and she saw everybody looking at her. And then it dawned on her. And the look on her face was priceless. Because she runs back to him and she goes, "What I meant was my son is actually colorblind. He needs help knowing which balls are which. Because unless he goes and turns them and sees the numbers, he doesn't see color." And it was hilarious. So we had a good laugh about that. That was a fun story. So the same football player, after one of our classes, we had donuts and we brought orange juice and milk for the class. And afterwards, there was a full gallon of milk left. And he looks at me and he's all, "Hey, John, I'll bet you another donut that I can drink. I can chug that gallon of milk." And I said, "Okay, yeah, go for it. I'll bet you, that's worth donuts. I want to see this." And he was a safety, so he was a thinner guy. And I'm just like, a gallon of milk, no. There's no way you can do it. So he starts chugging, and he chugs, and he gets down to about that much left in the jug. And he just had to go in the bathroom and vomit. So he came back out, wiping his face off, and he's like, "Oh, man, I owe you a donut," which he brought me. And so that was awesome. Okay, now, another story that I really like. It was funny. We had in another class, it wasn't in my class, it was in another class, we had a problem with sexual harassment. And so we were instructed to talk to all our classes about what is and is not appropriate. And so I gather my class around and I tell them, what is and isn't considered sexual harassment and what the consequences of it could be. I have to lay down the law. Well, there was a girl taking my class, and we knew each other outside of class. But she was taking my class, and after my spiel about sexual harassment, she calls out and goes, "Hey, John," and she turns around and asks, "Do these boots make my butt look big?" And I couldn't say anything. Everybody starts laughing, and I just walked away. I just walked away, and she did not realize what she had done, because she was legitimately asking because she got new boots and just wanted to know if those boots made her butt look big. But that's not something you ask in class. So that was awesome. That was funny. One of the next funny stories I have was, okay, I'm a pretty good arm wrestler. Like, I can take on, football player types and either beat them or give them a dang good run for their money. I am able to lock my wrist, and I just have a good sense of leverage. I can beat most people in arm wrestling. And so this kid in my class, he was kind of buff, and I smacked him, and I'm like, "Hey, we need to arm wrestle." And he just goes, "What, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll beat you." And he turned around, and his shirt said, "Las Vegas Arm Wrestling Champion." I learned really quick that they are actually really talented. He smoked me. And, we just laughed about it because I've arm wrestled, other people, buff people, and usually I can win. Yeah, you do an arm wrestling champion, and you're going to lose. Just thought I'd let you know. And there are so many stories that I have, but this last one that I have is one of my favorites. So there was a guy in my class. To tell you the truth, I don't even remember his real name because I always called him Trogdor. And it stuck. That's what he signed the role as. That's what everybody called him in the class. He was Trogdor. Now, Trogdor was a disabled guy. What he told me was, I have MS's little brother. And so he had difficulties with balance. He had difficulty walking. Half the time he was in a wheelchair. The other half he would use a cane. But totally awesome guy. In fact, after I had him in my class, I had his brother, and then his mother came into the class along with Trogdor again. And we were just really good friends. And he was a fantastic kid. And he called it MS's little brother because he said, and I said, "What do you mean little brother? Look at the condition you're in." He's like, "This is the condition I'm in now, and this is the same condition I will be in 10 years. Can you say the same?" And I just had to say, "Yeah, you win." Because with my condition, in 10 years, I could be unable to walk. I could be a multitude of problems, that will affect my life. And so Trogdor came into class. Now, at the end of every semester, I would have a pizza party. I would bring pizza, and what I would do is have the whole class kind of just chip in a couple bucks. We would order the big pizzas from the pie, and then I would bring rock band. We would, and if you sang songs in class, I would count that as an extra credit. You could make up a day you missed by singing the class a song. And so I had a lot of students singing for the class. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of them just wanted to do it because it's fun. I'd bring one guitar and the microphones. So I'd have two microphones and a guitar, and we would just have a rock band day. And so they still go play pool and stuff, but we ate pizza, played rock band, and that was the last day of class. It was fantastic. So Trogdor was upset because he was in the morning class, which just got donuts and rock band. And he's like, John, I really want a piece of pizza. He's, I'll even help chip in a little, because everybody would chip in, usually about $5 each, because we'd get the big honking pizzas from the pie. And so I was like, you know what, just show up. If there's any extra pizza, you can have a piece. You don't, you're good. And he's like, okay. So then I said, wait a minute, I have an idea. And so we devised this little plan. So he shows up, wheels himself up in his wheelchair, and in front of my class goes, hey, John, can I have a piece of pizza? And I turned to the class and I said, hey, class, we need to take a vote on this. Should we give Trogdor a piece of pizza? And they all were like, well, yeah, I mean, it's a guy in a wheelchair. They're like, yeah, he'd get a piece. So I turned and I said, okay, you can have a piece. And I put a piece on a plate. And I said, you can have this if you get up and come get it. And you should have seen the looks on their faces. Everybody was just appalled by what I had just said and done. And there's gasps. People are just like, and Trogdor stumbles up, gets out of his chair, and stumbles over to the pizza. And I'm like, oh, there you go. Good job. I knew you could do it. And it was so hilarious because then he went and sat back down. And then we just started busting up because we had planned that. And it got the effect we were looking for. So got the reaction we wanted. It was fantastic. That was probably one of the funniest things that have happened in my class. So that was just a few short stories. I do have a lot more of them. If you want more of them, I'll tell you more. Leave me a comment. Just let me know if you want to hear more. So until then, my next video will probably be another video game video. So be prepared for that. And I will talk to you all later.